In addition to fighting its perennial enemies, their arch-rival the Ottomans and the Uzbeks, as the 17th century progressed, Iran had to contend with the rise of new neighbors. Russian Muscovy in the previous century had deposed two Western Asian khanates of the Golden Horde and expanded its influence into Europe, the Caucasus Mountains and Central Asia. In the Far Eastern territories, the Mughals of India had expanded into Khorasan, now Afghanistan, at the expense of Iranian control, briefly taking Qandahar. More importantly, the Dutch East India Company and later British used their superior means of maritime violence to control trade routes in the Western Indian Ocean. As a result, Iran was cut off from overseas links to East Africa, the Arabian Peninsula, and South Asia. But overland trade between Iran and South Asia grew. Many Indian merchants established a permanent presence in Iran and moved into Russia from the mid-17th century. Iran was also able to further develop its overland trade with North and Central Europe during the second half of the 17th century. In the late 17th century, Iranian merchants established a permanent presence as far north as Narva on the Baltic Sea. In what now is Estonia, the Dutch and English were still able to drain the Iranian government of much of its precious metal supplies. Except for Shah Abbas II, the Safavid rulers after Abbas I were therefore rendered ineffectual, and the Iranian government declined and finally collapsed when a serious military threat emerged on its eastern border in the early 18th century. The end of the reign of Abbas II, 1666, thus marked the beginning of the end of the Safavid dynasty. Despite falling revenues and the military threats, later shahs had lavish lifestyles. Sultan Husayn, 1694–1722, in particular was known for his love of wine and disinterest in governance. The country was repeatedly raided on its frontiers, Kerman by Baloch tribes in 1698, Khorasan by the Hotakis in 1717. Constantly in Mesopotamia by Peninsular Arabs. Sultan Husayn tried to forcibly convert his Afghan subjects in Qandahar from Sunni to the Shia sect of Islam. In response, a Ghilzai Afghan chieftain named Mir Waiz Hotak revolted and killed Gurgin Khan, the Safavid governor of the region, along with his army. In 1722, an Afghan army led by Mir Waiz's son Muhammad advanced on the heart of the empire and defeated the government forces at the Battle of Gulnabad. He then besieged the capital of Isfahan, until Shah Sultan Husayn abdicated and acknowledged him as the new king of Persia. The tribal Afghans rode roughshod over their conquered territory for 7 years but were prevented from making further gains by Nader Shah, a former slave who had risen to military leadership within the Afshar tribe in Khorasan, a vassal state of the Safavids. Quickly making name as a military genius both feared and respected amongst its friends and enemies, including Persia's arch-rival the Ottoman Empire, and Russia, both empires Nader would deal with soon afterwards. Nader Shah easily defeated the Ghilzai Hotaki forces in the 1729 Battle of Damgan. He had removed them from power and banished them out of Persia, and in 1738 conquered their last stronghold in Qandahar. In the same year, in need of fortune to aid his military careers against his Ottoman and Russian imperial rivals, he started his invasion of the wealthy but weak Mughal Empire, occupying Ghazni, Kabul, Lahore, and as far as Delhi, in India, when he completely humiliated and looted the military inferior Mughals. These cities were later inherited by his Abdali Afghan military commander, Ahmad Shah Durrani. Nadir had effective control under Shah Abbas II and then ruled as regent of the infant Abbas III until 1736 when he had himself crowned Shah. Immediately after Nadir Shah's assassination in 1747, the Safavids were reappointed as Shahs of Iran in order to lend legitimacy to the nascent Zand dynasty. However, the brief puppet regime of Ismail III ended in 1760 when Karim Khan felt strong enough to take nominal power of the country as well and officially end the Safavid dynasty.